tackle this gorgeous 4/10 of a mile oval for the 7th race of their 2022 campaign. Chris, great job, man.
Thank you very much. And, you know, something like this, Eric, how in the world do you pick a favorite to win this race? I mean, you have so many people. Any driver out in this field of cars could win this race tonight here at Carteret County Speedway.
And you mentioned it. I mean, the field has been so competitive. Hard to believe that 2 of our 4 winners in 6 races are not here tonight. Matt Hirschman, Joey Coulter, the drivers in the field who have already gone to victory lane. Points leader Caleb Petty and Jonathan Brown. Let's take a look at our starting lineup once more. Bobby Labonte and Brandon Ward on row 1, with Burt Myers and Brian Lofton making up row number 2. Jonathan Brown and Caleb Petty, the point leader, row 3. Then Jason Myers and Bobby Meismer Jr. in row 4. Gary Putnam and Dennis Holdren take you through your top 10, while Jimmy Wallace and Greg Butcher take you back to row number 6. Rest of the field sees Daniel Yates and Jeremy Gerstner in the borrowed ride in row 7. Row 8 would be that of Craig Young and Troy Young, and Brian Weber rounds out the 17-car field. It should be noted, Jeremy Gerstner in that 8NY, his normal team, the Hillbilly Motorsports entry, they dropped a valve in practice earlier, had to load up that car, but the Hillbilly team will be pitting that 8NY tonight, as everybody's got one fresh change Hoosier tire in the pits, and that's going to be the key moment in terms of who may win this race.
Bad luck there for Jeremy Gerstner, but hey, that man, you can put Jeremy Gerstner in anything, and he's going to find a way to get that car toward the front of this field.
We are incredibly happy to be back here at Bobby Watson's Carteret County Speedway. Also want to tip our cap to our Flow Racing producer, Greg Eckert, who showed up at the venue yesterday, made sure everything was ready and raring to go, worked with the track directly, and we are thrilled to be bringing this broadcast to those of you who were not privileged enough to be here tonight at truly one of the most beautiful facilities you will ever see.
I had the honor of meeting Greg earlier and working with him and getting things going, and I'm going to tell you what, class act he is. It was a privilege to meet him as well, the way he conducts himself and the way that he does everything here. So, once again, kudos to Flow Racing and all of y'all. Fantastic job, my friend.
It's an absolute honor to be here. So the stage has been set. If you're new to Smart Modified Racing, there's a couple of rules that we want to draw out for you right now. I mentioned briefly, 1 change tire. These drivers show up, they buy 5 new Hoosier tires. 4 of them get bolted on the car before qualifying. They run their 2 laps, they line up for the race. They get 1 Hoosier sticker that they could bolt on the car at any time. We may see some trickery in terms of left side swaps as we did a year ago, and odds are that sticker tire may end up going on the right rear here as they lean on that right side of the car so much. We're also going to have a Jerry Hunt Supercenter stage break that's going to award some cash to the top 3 finishers, and we are just about set to get the signal for the field to get ready to unleash the Autos by Nelson pace truck and get underway. It looks like we're going to go around at least 1 more lap, but Chris, I think that mold of strategy, that 1 change tire, the stage break, it's what makes these Smart Modified races so exciting each and every time.
I've seen drivers actually wait to take on a tire and hope and pray they get a caution later in the race. So, Eric Brennan, when they stop, it's not necessarily a fact that everybody's going to put on that tire. So they want to maybe take a chance and wait later in the race. So when they do come in, it's going to be interesting to see if they take advantage of that to put on that new tire.
It's certainly one of the most interesting facets of the Smart Modified Tour. These drivers also have a $200 bonus up for grabs for the Halfway Leader Award, courtesy of our partners at Bankers Life. That's something these drivers keep in the back of their heads when that time approaches. Of course, they are vying for the incredible Smarty Trophy presented by Bankers Life, but of course molded by Jostin. So that's just a couple of other premier partners that we have here who make this series as special as it is. And we've got some new ones who have come on board just this past week. A new partnership with Bell Helmets means that you are going to be seeing the Bell Helmets green flag here in just a short bit, as the field has been stopped on the back straightaway here. It appears as though that there is something on the racetrack that needs to be tended to before we fire them off and get this race underway for 99 laps. You see so many viewing areas here at the Carteret County Speedway. That perch there at the back straightaway, there's so many buildings. Each and every one of them are in absolute pristine condition. We mentioned Moonshiners, the restaurant that's just kind of tucked in between turns 3 and 4. That's a great hangout spot, either before the race, during the race, maybe even after the race, for as long as they keep the lights on here. And of course, the grandstands. There's so many areas where we have concessions available. We have so much that is available to fans that are in attendance here at Carteret County. And I hope the pictures for those of you watching along on Flow Racing are truly doing it justice.
Pretty neat that we have suites in each turn. As you look around, Eric, right there in turn 1 and turn 2, turn 3 and 4, we have suites, and some of these can be rented out. A lot of them are available. If someone needs to get out of the heat and get in that AC, they can simply just walk in that suite and have a good time in the comfort of some AC.
And there's so many viewing spots. Most of the spotters are actually located about 2 levels up above where we are positioned in the booth. Also in a similar spot to where our hardworking camera operators are for the Flow Racing broadcast. We are showing you that area in the infield where a lot of the competitors, and I really do think, and we actually heard in one of the classes that just wrapped up in Victory Lane, there is, you could feel the presence, if you will, of these modified teams, of the fans that came out to watch them. And they are aware that they're in quite a spotlight tonight, especially with all of tonight's races being streamed on Flow Racing as well. And it's just a level of energy that they could feel, even if they come here each and every week. Tonight, that vibe is just a little bit more enhanced.
Absolutely it is. And Eric Brennan, I'm going to tell you what, as I said, Carteret County Speedway fans, they are the best on the planet. So what I'm going to ask them to do, Eric Brennan, race fans, if you would, I need all of you once again to stand up, wave your hats. Come on, race fans, let's show them how we do it here at Carteret County Speedway. I need everybody up on your feet. I need you to wave your kids, wave your hats, wave your water bottle. It don't matter. Come on, everybody. Let's show them how much we appreciate them here at Bobby Watson's Carteret County Speedway. Make some noise!
As I told you many a times, Chris Carter, nobody does it better. What a sight. The AutosByNelson.com Pace Truck with a beautiful, smart, modified tour powered by Pace-O-Matic logo on the side, leading them down the front straightaway with all the fans in attendance, getting set to cheer on the 17 drivers who are set to be unleashed on this 0.4 of a mile oval. And Chris, I want to talk about the track a little bit. There's a beautiful aerial photo on the Carteret County Speedway website that kind of gives you an idea of how tight the radius of the turns are. The one thing that many of these drivers have told me is that the bump in turn 2, where the cars typically will be exiting the pit lane tonight, it's not gotten worse, if you will, but it's gotten more character. And they said if you hit that bump while the car is already out of yaw a little bit, it could send you on quite a ride in turn number 2. Turn 4, not as bad, but you'll be able to see it off of turn number 4 if they get low enough with the left side tires. But even though this venue has not been here all that long, as we're a lap away from going green, it's got a lot of character to it, and that's what makes it fun.
Absolutely, and if you talk to any of these drivers here in any division here at Carteret County Speedway, Eric Brennan, they will tell you about the characteristics of this 0.4 mile flat track. We have 4 degrees of banking in each turn, and other than that, it's as flat as the parking lot outside.
And the drivers say, even though it is a little bit flat, 8 degrees of banking on each end of the racetrack, 4 degrees on the straightaway, you can set your car up to pass, and I think we're going to see a lot of that tonight. The AutosByNelson.com Pace Truck is getting set to head off to pit road. Bobby Labonte and Brandon Ward are set to bring the field to the Bell Helmet's green flag, and we are about to get the Carteret Clash underway. Fans on their feet, and here we go for 99 laps.
Quick jump right there. Bobby Labonte, he jumps out front. Brandon Ward, he's looking on the outside right there. Brandon coming off of 2 as they go into turn 3. They're almost door to door. Brandon Ward and Bobby Labonte as they complete the first lap.
Boy, Labonte almost clipped the grass a little bit there with the left front tire as he hugged the bottom of the racetrack. Labonte leads lap 1. Ward was making the outside lane work there momentarily. Settles to second. Now Burt Myers slots into third with Jonathan Brown, your top 4.
as the field single file all the way back to the last place car, Bobby Labonte. He is your race leader. We have 2 laps complete, and we got a good battle going on right there for third position with Jonathan Brown and Burt Myers.
Brown trying to close up here. In fact, almost got to the back bumper of Burt Myers as they came off the corner. Back down the main straightaway. Brown running in fourth, trying to chase down Burt Myers, who holds that third spot. A gap back to Brian Lofton, who is in fifth. And that fight for third continues on the back straightaway in 3.
You'll hear a lot of these drivers talk about how they just want to ride around for a lot of these laps and just kind of fill out the card to see what they got. And that's exactly what they're doing right now, just riding around. And if there's a such thing, I guess that's what we're seeing now.
Going to be coming up to the Jerry Hunt Supercenter stage break at lap 30, so a lot of drivers may very well take it easy in the opening stages of this race. One driver who is not really taking it easy, though, is your leader, Bobby Labonte. He's opened up a pretty healthy advantage, but it's a 3-car for second.
Yes, right there, Burt Myers. He's all over that rear bumper, actually trying to look out inside, coming off of turn 4. Burt Myers trying to make a little noise as Jonathan Brown tries to get underneath him coming off of turn 2.
Brown got a good run there off the corner. Remember, he was your winner at Franklin County Speedway earlier this season. Burt Myers there with a bit of a nudge, perhaps to the backside of Brandon Ward in the race for second.
Jason Myers back there. Can't quite see who he's competing with right there, but yes, Jason Myers. He is trying to get up to that back bumper of Brian Lofton right there in that number 15.
Meanwhile, Brandon Ward continues to hold on to that second spot. Burt Myers not that far behind. I mentioned earlier in driver introductions, big weekend for the Myers family. It's Burt and Jason's parents, Gary and Pam Myers, their 50th wedding anniversary. What a celebration it would be if either of the Myers brothers could find their way in victory lane, and Burt is starting to make some noise.
Won't be much longer here. Brendan, looks like Bobby Labonte is going to be running into some lap traffic here within a lap and a half, 2 laps.
And lap traffic here at Carteret could be very difficult to get around, especially if they're running in that preferred groove on the racetrack. That might be the window of that these drivers here in Ward and Burt Myers really need to try to close up.
See Burt Myers back there still trying to make some noise on that number 2 car, that Coulter Motorsports car of Brandon Ward. And Brandon Ward also, he's another driver you can't count out anywhere he goes, Eric.
Saw Brandon Ward in the pit area earlier, and he appeared to have a little bit of pep in his step tonight. His car owner, Randy Renfro, said pretty much the same thing. They knew that they had a really fast hot rod tonight. It was a matter of if they could perfect the strategy. Leader on the same straightaway as a couple of cars at the tail end of the pack. In fact, they've worked their way around Brian Weber, who nearly gets kicked up towards the wall.
Looked like there might have been just a little bit of contact between Brandon Ward and that lap car. No harm, no foul as we continue on.
Leaders back down the main straightaway. It's going to be Craig Young and Troy Young who are next in line for the leaders to hit potential lap traffic as we inch closer to the stage break. In fact, we're halfway there. 15 laps to go until the Jerry Hunt Supercenter stage break.
Right there, that number 3 car held up Bobby Labonte coming down that front stretch. I'm pretty sure Bobby Labonte wasn't happy about that.
Oh yeah, and his spotter, Brent Wentz, who's been very busy this season, doing everything from about NASCAR, IndyCar, and one of his highest priorities, working with Bobby Labonte here in the Smart Modified Tour. He had to be pounding on the flag stand after Labonte initially went low and almost got boxed in behind the lapper.
Second and third place, Brandon Ward and Jonathan Brown make their way around the lap car right there. Got a little bit of contact right there with that 22 car as well. Jonathan Brown, he's now trying to make a little bit of noise on that back bumper once again of Burt Myers.
Labonte clear of that up for second as it appears to be up once again. Ward enters your picture. Burt Myers hugging the bottom, trying to use the left side apron and try to help that car get off the corner with Jonathan Brown right there in tow. 3 cars still under a blanket for second on back.
Once again, how does the driver, Eric Brennan, when they say they're taking it easy, how do you do that in a 600 horsepower modified?
I don't know. That's why I'm up here and not down there for sure. It's rough. And it sounds like, especially at this track because of how flat it is, you are leaning on that right rear so much. If you cook that thing too early, you are going to be one sorry driver towards the latter stages of this race because you will have nothing to lean on getting off turns 2 and turns 4.
as we're working lap 21. Bobby Labonte's got about a half a straightaway lead on the second place car of Brandon Ward. Third place is Burt Myers, followed by Jonathan Brown and Brian Lofton. That rounds out your top 5.
You see Lofton there. That team is really starting to put together the results and match some of the success they had towards the end of 2021. Lofton there in that Shady Grid Racing number 15. His son Carson has been lighting it up in 602 crate modifieds. He's been doing an amazing job. Brian now also trying to add to his trophy case if he can work his way further forward. Here's a battle for position. That's your points leader, Caleb Petty, and Jason Myers going around the top.
Caleb Petty trying to look underneath that number 4 car of Jason Myers as they come off of turn 4 down that front stretch, door to door as they head into turn number 1.
Eddie, who as we mentioned earlier, has never run here in a Tour Type Modified before. He appears to be picking up on it quite quickly as he's got that Tommy Baldwin Racing number 7 up in the 7th spot with the pass being made on Jason Myers.
And Caleb Petty told me earlier tonight that he's won races here in a Legend car, so he has a lot of experience at Carteret County Speedway, but just in a Legends car.
The 2 races that Caleb has gone to victory lane in, Florence Motor Speedway last season, Caraway Speedway earlier this year. This track not really as gritty or rough in nature as some of those other venues, but he says he loves this place and he is going to be a threat towards the end as he currently rides in 7th spot.
Last year's winner, Bobby Labonte, he is your race leader as you see him headed down the backstretch into turn number 4, and he's going to have another lap car to deal with, Eric.
Labonte trying to scoot away to a Jerry Hunt Supercenter stage win in just a few more laps. The battle for second continues on. There is a cash difference there between second and third, between Brandon Ward and Burt Myers, and that is the fight that just won't go away.
We've got a little bit of separation now between the second place car, Brandon Ward, and Burt Myers. Earlier, we've seen them battling bumper to the rear bumper up to the back bumper of the 2 car, Brandon Ward, but now we got a little bit of separation between the 2.
All the while, Bobby Labonte is on the back straightaway. He is getting set to come to the orange and white checkered flag to indicate a Jerry Hunt Supercenter stage win at Carteret County. Bobby Labonte to the orange and white checkers. Jerry Hunt Supercenter stage wins at car 25. Brandon Ward comes home second in the stage break. Burt Myers third, and just missing out on the extra available money in the stage break is that of Jonathan Brown, who is fourth, and Brian Lofton, your top 5.
Well, Eric, it's been fun, man. I have so enjoyed just being up here with you and talking and calling this race, or trying to call this race. But man, I tell you what, such a great job you do. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do. I appreciate the fans at home watching on Flow Racing, and I appreciate the staff of Flow Racing, man. Great job, and I enjoyed it.
It was an absolute pleasure. I'm glad we've been talking about doing this for quite some time, Chris. I'm glad we had a chance to call some laps together. Let's do it again sometime soon, huh?
Absolutely. Thank you, buddy.
And of course, is Chris Carter. You'll be hearing that voice perhaps throughout the rest of our race down trackside. Also, he'll be handling some duties down there as well, as we still have more racing to go once the Smart Modified Tour wraps up their portion of the program here at Bobby Watson's Carteret County Speedway. So the field now works behind the AutosByNelson.com pace truck, and we are about to see the Citrus Safe Choose Cone. True story. Got a little bit of action on the pit lane as well here, as a couple of drivers are going to stop for some adjustments. But before we see that Choose Cone, I want to remind everyone here that we have some amazing partners and sponsors with the Smart Modified Tour, and Citrus Safe is, of course, one of them. As someone who had the opportunity to purchase a smoker recently, I knew that I needed a true grilling cleaning solution. Well, Citrus Safe is a non-toxic, biodegradable grill cleaner founded back in 1997. It was under a different name back then. In 2003, they rebranded to the brand that you could see on store shelves at Lowe's, Walmart, and many others. Be sure to check them out for all your grill cleaning needs. Remember, if it's race season, then it's grilling season. And that's our partners at Citrus Safe, as we will be seeing the Choose Cone here in the not-too-distant future. Meanwhile, from third spot, make that second second spot, Brandon Ward has elected to come down the pit lane, and they are already swapping left side tires on that Renfro and Coulter Motorsports number 2. You see the work going on there. Surprised to see Brandon Ward give up the second position. However, this was a strategy that we saw from many teams last season that put them up towards the front. So Ward is going to have to restart towards the tail end of the pack here on this one. He will exit his pit area. Also saw Dennis Holdren down there for service as well. Brian Weber is on the pit lane, and it looks perhaps a similar left side swap. In fact, there's a lot of chassis adjustments taking place there on Jimmy Wallace's car in the Tuttle Racing number 21. All the while, the caution is out with 30 laps complete, 69 laps to go. And the Carteret Clash for the Smart Modified Tour, powered by Pace-O-Matic, as the work continues on the Tuttle Racing number 21 of Jimmy Wallace. So with Brandon Ward ducking to the pit area, that will leave Bobby Labonte the race leader. Burt Myers will now move up to second, with Jonathan Brown in third. This could, of course, change a little bit when they hit the Citrus Safe Choose cone. Maybe we'll see if we are, in fact, getting closer to the 1 to go signal. We'll see if we are able to get it this time by. May have to circulate at least once more before we are set for an upcoming restart.
Very interesting first 30 laps. Bobby Labonte from the pole has led all 30, but a long way to go. Bobby Labonte, Burt Myers will restart on the front row. And man, it is fun to see these smart modified cars here at Bobby Watson's Carteret Speedway. They haul the mail and the fans are loving it.
That voice you are hearing on Flow Racing is that of Alan Vick, who is a frequent contributor and announcer here at Carteret County Speedway. Does a great job each and every week. As the Citrus Safe Choose cone is on the main straightaway, we will see how we are going to set the field for this restart. And it looks as though we may have to circulate at least one more time. No, Chief Starter J.B. Cole is going to indicate the 1 to go signal. And that is Chris Honeycutt, who rolled out the Citrus Safe Choose cone on the front stretch. And we'll see who elects to start where, as Bobby Labonte will pick the bottom, Burt Myers up top. So far, everybody pretty much following the status quo. Exception is going to be that of Caleb Petty. He elected not to jump up to the outside of row 3. He's going to follow Bobby Meismer Jr. down to the inside, and that's going to move Daniel Yates up into 6th on the upcoming restart.
That Labonte vehicle has been handling so well. You know, last year that was his edge. He was able to keep it low. He handled well. He won this race. That car looks like it's on a rail again this year, but there is a long way to go. A lot of hungry drivers behind the driver, that number 25. And it's time to get back down to it.
Getting set to come into the Pace-O-Matic restart zone for the first time tonight. Bobby Labonte, Burt Myers. Keep your eyes on car 2. Brandon Ward, who's fresh off the pit lane. We're back underway. Burt Myers trying to make the outside work as they come out of turn number 2. Side by side for the lead in 3 with Labonte down low. Myers up top. Here they come off turn 4.
Bobby Labonte will lead it. Burt Myers did all he could to make the outside work. He will settle into 2nd, but it is Bobby Labonte coming around to complete lap number 32 here at Bobby Watson's Carteret Speedway.
Labonte now back to the point, even though he has been pretty much all night long. Now clear out in front of the competition. And Burt Myers, who, as we mentioned, debuting a brand new chassis. He had much success with a PSR car at Bowman Gray Stadium. Decided to bring this one out here as we got a caution on the racetrack. Caution is out. This is the first natural caution of the race following the Jerry Hunt Supercenter stage break. It appears as though we might have had an issue with one of the Young Motorsports team. That is the Foxfire Towing entry coming back on the main straightaway. That is the 02 of Troy Young, who had a problem off the 2nd corner. And it will slow this field just a couple of laps after the restart from the Jerry Hunt Supercenter stage break.
Single car incident, should be a short caution. Again, your leader is Bobby Labonte. Bobby's led all the laps so far, but Burt Myers He's going to try to make that outside work again on the restart. He almost got there this restart, and Jonathan Brown is third. Bobby Meesemer Jr. is fourth, and Brian Lofton is fifth. I tell you what, Burt Myers doesn't mind trying the outside, and hey, somebody's got to jump up there and try to make it happen, and he seems to be the man to want to do it.
Most of these cars, in fact, by my count, all of them still have a fresh Hoosier tire in the pit area. From our perspective, you could see it pretty much from the broadcast tower here at Carteret County Speedway. We did see Brandon Ward stop. Remember, he gave up second position, came down the pit lane, restarted further back, and even after just a couple of laps, that Renfro Coulter Motorsports number 2 is back up into the top 10. He might be able to get some more spots with the CitraSafe Choose Cone, but we're going to have to wait and see until the one-to-go signal is given. At this point, we have not seen any takers on the pit lane, but that's about to change. Here comes Jeremy Gerstner down to the attention of the Hillbilly Motorsports team that will be pitting this car, normally driven by Wes Gilbert. Also, Dennis Holdren is coming back into the attention of his crew, and we see Greg Butcher on the pit lane as well. Holdren, as well as Gerstner and Butcher, the three cars taking advantage of this caution to come down for service.
Your leader is Bobby Labonte. Burt Myers is second. Jonathan Brown rides third. Bobby Jr. is fourth, and Brian Lofton is fifth. Sixth belongs to Daniel Yates. Seventh will be Caleb Hetty. Eighth will be Jason Myers. Ninth, Gary Putnam. And Brandon Ward again back up to 10th as he made a nice run in just a couple laps after making a pit stop.
You bet you Gary Putnam being up in the top 10. That's a car that went out there for qualifying. Had to make a couple of adjustments at that point. Putnam had to start shotgun on the field because of an adjustment that was made after qualifying. He's worked his way up into the top 10, and that is a car that we've seen be very, very fast on more than one occasion in Smart Modified Tour competition. In fact, in Tour Type Modified competition. Remember, that's the same car that Max McLaughlin won the North-South Shootout in a couple of years ago, and Gary Putnam himself scoring what many would consider the most popular win in 2021 when he scored the victory at Caraway Speedway July 4th weekend 1 year ago.
Great crowd here for Labor Day weekend Saturday night at Bobby Watson's Carteret Speedway. Don't forget, we're going to be right back here tomorrow for a big money late model race, but tonight it is the Smart Modified Tour for the second time as we're going to get ready to go racing in less than a lap.
CitraSafe Choose Cone is back out on the racetrack. Bobby Labonte, no surprise, elects the inside. But one car that's going to be able to move up a little bit here is that of Brian Lofton. Lofton uses the Choose Cone to move up to the outside of row 2. So it's going to be Bobby Labonte and Burt Myers for the upcoming restart with 67 laps to go. Then it's Jonathan Brown and Brian Lofton in row 2. Row number 3, by virtue of the Choose Cone, he'll drop back there and find Bobby Meesemer Jr., and starting up alongside your championship points leader, Caleb Hetty. Into the Pace-O-Matic restart zone they come. 67 laps to go. Oh, Jonathan Brown hit that bump out of turn 2. Almost got up into the left rear quarter panel of Burt Myers, but Myers sends it off into 3 to try to fight for the lead up top.
Again, Burt Myers trying the outside, cannot make it work. It is Bobby Labonte, Burt Myers, and Jonathan Brown. 1, 2, 3 back under the green flag.
Brown that time almost got into the rear nerve bar of Burt Myers. In fact, there might have been a little bit of contact between car 22 and car 1. Now Brian Lofton is trying to make a move now on the inside of car 22. With Meesemer fighting in there, Lofton tries to get up inside out of 2.
Great race. Third on back, side by side. They will cross the start-finish line. It is Bobby Labonte, Burt Myers, and the rest. It is Brown, Lofton, Meesemer Jr., Caleb Hetty, and Gary Putnam.
That race for the third spot is the best on the racetrack. Lofton now has his car inside of Jonathan Brown as they come through 3 and 4. Both cars bounce over the bumps, and Brian Lofton will move to third.
Brian Lofton moves into third, dropping Jonathan Brown back to fourth. Your leader continues to be Bobby Labonte.
Still a long way to go in this race, and many of these drivers still have a fresh tire in their arsenal as the laps continue to click off. Right now, you're continuing to watch the battle for fourth on back, with Bobby Meismer Jr. holding down fifth, and point leader Caleb Petty having a strong start to his night in the sixth spot. But the car that continues to work its way further forward is Gary Putnam. That car appears to be working its way to the front methodically, and Putnam is trying to crack the top five if he can get a few more cars.
Putnam is there. Bobby Labonte continues to lead. Bobby Labonte seems to have maybe a tenth in the bag over the rest of the field right now, but we've still got a long way to go. Labonte leads Burt Myers, Brian Lofton, Jonathan Brown, and Bobby Meismer Jr.
In terms of what's in stake for the Smart Modified Tour at this point in the season, this is where things get kicked into an overdrive. The schedule packed. Orange County Speedway up next. Dominion Raceway, September 17th. We've got a handful of races to set our Smart 3, the three drivers who will battle it out for a championship at Tri-County Speedway. We got to be up there in the top three in points. Right now, Caleb Petty, Matt Hirschman, who is not here tonight, and Bobby Labonte hold those top three positions. So everybody has a lot to race for as we get towards the money time portion of our season. And right now, Bobby Labonte is showing the way up front. Here's Brandon Ward working his way back up towards the end of the field with Jason Myers in tow.
Bobby Labonte is so smooth, pretty much the same lap times every lap. He's putting a tenth or two in the bank every lap, but tell you what, Burt Myers is starting to get a miracle now of Brian Lofton. Lofton runs third, and we could have a battle for second here in just a few laps. Here comes Lofton.
You mentioned in driver introduction, Daniel Yates making a Smart Modified return. So far, it's been a great night for Yates. He currently rounds out your top 10 as things run. Meanwhile, the leader, Bobby Labonte, is coming off of turn number 4. He's about to be on the same straightaway as some lap traffic. Things got a little bit hairy the last time Labonte had to negotiate the traffic, while the race for second is starting to intensify. Brian Lofton is there.
You mentioned Brandon Ward making a caution. We got a caution. Yellow flag.
And it is in turns 3 and 4. We got a car that is sideways just under the pedestrian bridge that leads from the outside of the racetrack towards the infield. Trying to get a positive ID on that car, and it looks to be that of Dennis Holdren, who has spun in turns 3 and 4.
Single car incident. Looks to be a single car incident, putting us under the caution for the third time. Second time for a natural caution. Bobby Labonte continues to lead.
This caution comes with about 55 laps to go in the Carteret clash here at Bobby Watson's Carteret County Speedway. And for Holdren, who came into the night 8th in championship points, has had quite a season. He has run all 6 Smart Modified races so far, 1 top 5, 3 top 10s, and he has led 25 laps on the season. Looking for a Smart Modified victory if at all possible, but right now he's not even able to get that car refired at this point to join the tail end of the pack. And this is a bit of a heartbreaker for the Mark Dowdy-owned team, who came loaded for bear. In fact, reigning Smart 3 championship contender John Smith is helping out that team and organization here tonight. Of course, we always want to see John Smith behind the wheel of a race car if at all possible, but we do know that that Mark Dowdy-owned team is in good hands, with Smith serving as a bit of a wrenchman on the night. But unfortunately, it appears as though his hard work may be getting flushed away with 44 laps complete, as the tow truck has come out to retrieve Dennis Holdren's car from underneath the pedestrian bridge in turns 3 and 4.
It is Bobby Labonte, Burt Myers, Brian Lofton, Jonathan Brown, and Bobby Meismer Jr. Your top 5. Labonte's led them all so far, but a long way to go. Looking back a little further, Caleb Henny runs in 6th. Your point leader, Gary Putnam, is 7th. Brandon Ward, who made the pit stop, picked up another couple of positions in the last green flag run. So like you said earlier, he is methodically working his way towards the front.
Handful of laps shy of halfway. There is a Bankers Life Halfway Award that is up for grabs, and that will be a cash prize courtesy of our partners at Bankers Life. And we also want to give a brief and momentary shout out to one of the biggest supporters of the Smart Modified Tour, and that is of course Pace-O-Matic. They sponsor the series, the Pole Award, the Restart Zone, the Hard Charger Award, Victory Lane, even the Smart Modified Tour, powered by Pace-O-Matic point standings. Since 2000, Pace-O-Matic has assembled an incredibly talented team from top to bottom. They are built on the grounds of integrity, innovation, and compliance, and all of which aligns quite perfectly with the world of motorsports. Well, as an entertainment company that develops gaming software that players love to play, Pace-O-Matic is all about giving back to local communities, small businesses, and now motorsports. To learn more about their history, business, charitable works, and products, check out their social media outlets or visit their website at paceomatic.com. That's Pace-O-Matic, proud supporter of grassroots initiatives and proud sponsor of the Smart Modified Tour.
How about a happy 31st wedding anniversary to Kim and Wade Malik from Charleston, South Carolina. They are here to cheer on their driver, Bobby Labonte. They sponsor Bobby. Again, a happy 31st wedding anniversary to Kim and Wade with us tonight from Charleston, South Carolina.
And we see the marked audio number 07 of Dennis Holdren on the hook. This has not really been a race of much attrition, at least at this point. So that's not the news that Holdren wanted to hear, as he is slowly working his way back to the attention of his crew in the pit area. And he may be one of the first ones to fall out of competition here tonight in what was a 17-car field. 16 cars remain running. We touched on the story a little bit earlier on. Jeremy Gerstner in the 8NY tonight. And it actually taught a lot of us about Wes Gilbert's car. That's a former Justin Bonsignore machine that he had much success with in the early 2010s. Wes bought that car out of the Bonsignore stable, has been running it for quite some time, and even though he is a northerner, originally from New York, now resides in Maryland, this is quite the trip for some of those northern modified competitors, and Wes has been running a number of smart modified and tour type style races in this part of the country. Well, not only did he and his organization make the trip all the way here, once they got here, they saw that Jeremy Gerstner and the Hillbilly Motorsports team had been bitten with some bad luck. Gerstner comes into the night 10th in points and only about 20 out of potentially getting up to the top 5, make that 30. So being that we are getting to a crucial point in the season where we are thinking about who our Championship 3 and Smart 3 are going to be, Gerstner did everything he could to strike a deal. Wes Gilbert voluntarily stepped out of that car and said this could be a big learning experience. Gerstner's got a lot of experience here, and let's not forget, he finished runner-up 1 year ago to the eventual race winner Bobby Labonte after being passed with less than 5 laps to go. Gerstner was very complimentary of that car, was very complimentary of the power plant in that 8NY, and of course very complimentary of Wes Gilbert and his sportsmanship initiative there to give up his seat in the cockpit to allow Gerstner a chance to continue to fight in the championship standings. What a story, and it's still developing. As things run, Gerstner is in 14th. We'll see where he ends up at the end of the night. Might be able to use some strategy to try to climb his way further up the running order as he remains on the lead lap.
Your leader is Bobby Labonte. Running second is Burt Myers. Third is Brian Lofton. Fourth is Jonathan Brown. Fifth is Bobby Meesemer Jr. Caleb Heddy now 6th. Gary Putnam 7th. Brandon Ward is 8th. Jason Myers is 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Daniel Yates. A long way to go. 55 laps left here for the Smart Modifieds here at Bobby Watson's Carteret Speedway. It's been all Bobby Labonte, but again, we got a long way to go.
Seeing a little bit of action on the pit lane, but not much by any of the front runners at this point. Looks as though that Jimmy Wallace and Troy Young elected to stop for momentary service. Also, Brian Weber came in for attention from his crew. As you see, the autosbynelson.com pace truck parading the field off of turn number 2.
A lot of these teams have not made a pit stop yet tonight, so they've got that fresh rubber in the pits to take advantage of when they need it.
The cars have just made their way off the pit lane, now catching the tail end of the pack. So that means this time by Chris Honeycutt will present the CitraSafe Choose cone up onto the main straightaway, and our chief starter J.B. Cole will signal 1 to go. And we will see if Labonte will elect the bottom. It seems most likely that it will still be Labonte inside, Burt Myers outside, and each and every lap, each and every restart I should say, it looks like that Burt Myers is making some ground on that top lane. We'll see if he can do it this time.
He's come awful close to taking that lead away from Bobby Labonte. Labonte loves the bottom. That car seems to work best on the bottom, but Myers is going to give it a try again. Tell you what, maybe the third time is the charm for Burt Myers.
Just about every time we've restarted with these two on the front row, it's been like this. Bobby Labonte inside, Burt Myers outside, Brian Lofton, Jonathan Brown in row number 2. 55 laps to go. And everybody pretty much still sitting on that fresh tire in the pit area. When will they put them on? Here they come into the Pace-O-Matic restart zone. Labonte and Myers bring us back down to green.
Good jump that by Bobby Labonte. Myers not able to use that outside, but Bobby Labonte continues to hug the bottom. He leads it.
Wow, Burt Myers trying to shut the door on Brian Lofton that time at the end of the back straightaway. Lofton pretty much was not going to allow him a chance to shut the door on him. Bobby Meismer up and around Jonathan Brown for what is a fight for 4th. But new second place runner, Brian Lofton.
First time tonight anybody has gotten around Burt Myers. Brian Lofton a couple of car lengths behind Bobby Labonte. We got 9-10 cars right together. Great racing here at Bobby Watson's Carteret Speedway.
Starting to see things get a little bit more physical amongst competitors in order to make a pass. These drivers with the Nerf bars they have on the front, back, and both sides, they're not afraid to use them, and they just might have to make some of these passes here tonight. And I think Lofton maybe decided that was his moment to try to get up the second spot. He's opened up some ground there, but the best race right now is between Jonathan Brown and Caleb Petty. They're in a fight currently for what would be the 5th spot.
Coming around to complete lap number 49. Next time by, there will be 50 on the board. It's Bobby Labonte, Brian Lofton, Burt Myers Jr., and Jonathan Brown. Labonte with about a 2-car length lead on Brian Lofton.
SS Racing, Jonathan Brown, boy, they've been busy. Even though the Smart Modified Tour has been off for quite some time, there was almost some contact there on a 4. SS Racing went to North Wilkesboro and went to Victory Lane with Ryan Newman behind the wheel just a few weeks back. Now Jonathan Brown back behind the wheel of the SS Racing car en route to what he hopes to be a potential championship winning effort. And he's doing a great job holding off Caleb Petty for the final spot in the top 5 through 2.
Tell you what, Bobby Labonte is not getting away from Brian Lofton. Lofton is right there. If Labonte slips, Lofton is going to be there to take advantage. Burt Myers is 3rd. Bobby Meismer Jr. is 4th, but you got to give it to Brian Lofton. He has been the one that has been able to hang with Bobby Labonte so far tonight.
First time we haven't seen Labonte be able to drive away just yet, as we see the top 5 continuing to try to sort out their spots. There's the gap from 1st to 2nd. Labonte nursing about a half-second advantage over Brian Lofton, and Lofton's team is one that is starting to find their stride at this point in the season. He got his first pole of the year last time out at Caraway. He is running exceptionally well here tonight, taking a bit of a different line as they go through 1 and 2, trying to get more power off the corner, and he's closing.
Brian Lofton is closing on Bobby Labonte. He's been a couple of hundredths faster the last couple of laps. Brian Lofton is there to take advantage as they flash across the start-finish line to complete lap number 55.
Lofton down the back straightaway. Last time through was about a 1/10 of a second faster. They come back up on the main straightaway here. A little bit of a bobble that time by Lofton as he came out of 4. And he's taking a much higher entry as they go into turn 1. Pulls up a little bit on Labonte in the center of the corner, but Labonte's able to pull him off the corner. This is shaping up to be a great battle for the lead.
Brian Lofton is there. Again, Bobby Labonte leads it by maybe a car length, but Lofton is doing all he can, putting the pressure on Bobby Labonte.
One of the things I noticed while being out there for practice earlier this afternoon, a lot of these drivers pick different points on the racetrack where they get off the throttle. Some of them do it in the middle of the straightaway, others wait until very late and pound on the brakes. And then when they get back to the gas, some of them mash the throttle as soon as they can, while others kind of feather it all the way through until they're comfortable to let the rear tires grip up and pull them down the straightaway. These two appear to be running some different lines right now, and we're not quite sure which one is the best, as there is a lap car ahead of Labonte.
Leaders are also going to be coming up on lap traffic. It is Bobby Labonte, Brian Lofton, Burt Myers, Bobby Meismer, and Jonathan Brown. lap traffic is going to be a factor as the leaders are going to get into it heavy here in just a couple laps.
Brian Weber was running in the bottom of the racetrack where Labonte wanted to be. That cost him some time. Lofton's able to clear Brian Weber a little bit easier that time out of 4. Labonte still holds the top spot. Lofton trying to set him up.
Bobby Labonte leads it. Brian Lofton is there. One slip and he'll be able to take advantage. Burt Myers just kind of back there watching right now, kind of just riding, coming around to complete lap number 62.
I think we're starting to get to that point in the race where if the caution was to come out, and you see Burt Myers now working his way around the lap traffic, this may be the point in the race where everybody would come down and bolt on that new tire, and the pressure would be turned on these pit crews. They are, in fact, live pit stops. It's something to consider as that time approaches, if that time approaches, should we see a yellow from this point to the finish. It'll be 35 laps to go this time by.
Bobby Labonte's lap times have been so consistent all night long, not varying much at all. It is Labonte, Lofton, Myers, Meesemer, Brown. Brandon Ward continues to move forward. He's now up to the 6th position.
Really loving the fact that Brian Lofton has been able to search and search and search for something different. He doesn't want to follow in the tire tracks of Labonte each and every lap. He knows it's not going to be able to help him. He's been setting up high going into turns 1 and 3, and it appears to be working, especially if they get towards the tail end of the pack, which they are just about to be on the same straightaway as. If they should catch the tail end of the field, that should tighten this battle up even more.
Labonte seems to be a little stronger going down the back straightaway. Once they get into third, we've got a car spinning.
Oh, Jeremy Gerstner in the grass on the main straightaway. Caution will fly. And that was coming off of turn number 4. Jeremy Gerstner, as the leaders just went by, has slid through victory lane here on the front stretch at Carteret County Speedway.
He was very lucky not to hit anything. He hit that grass. That grass is wet from the dew, but he was able to get control of that car and get it pointed in the right direction. But we are under caution.
Well, Chris Honeycutt was down there with the citrusate juice cone in hand. Lucky that Gerstner's left front didn't take that out from underneath of him. We told you the story just a few laps ago. This is Wes Gilbert's car with Gerstner behind the wheel. And after that slide down there through the grass and through victory lane here at the Carteret County Speedway, Gerstner is going to get drop kicked to the tail end of the lead lap. And with 33 laps to go, I expect this could be, and if we're judging by the body language of the pit crew members, this could be where everything changes, as I believe we are on the heels of pit stops.
Got those brand new tires. They're going to bolt them on. Tell you what, again, like you said, this could totally change the complexion of this race. You put it on the pit crews with about 33 laps left to go. These cars are going to be hitting pit lane, and who knows, the fastest pit crew could very easily win their driver this race.
We saw briefly on the Flow Racing replay, it looks like Gerstner was hugging the bottom of the racetrack. Might have clipped the grass a little bit, maybe had some help. It was hard to tell from the speed shot there as they were coming by the main straightaway. But nevertheless, it looks like he will be able to stay on the lead lap. And Bobby Labonte is about to lead a crowded house down the pit lane. Lofton, Burt Myers, everybody's following except for Gary Putnam. And now it's all on the teams as Labonte is one of the first to hit his group at the end of the front stretch.
Everybody on pit road: Labonte, Lofton, Myers, Meesemer, Brown, Ward. Gary Putnam did stay on the racetrack. But these crews, they do yeoman's work, and they get it done in a big-time hurry. Smart Modifieds here at Bobby Watson's Carteret Speedway under what I believe is caution number 5 of this event. Cars starting to peel back off the pit lane onto the racetrack. We'll see if anyone was able to pick up spots.
You see Burt Myers' car on the pit lane. They're electing to swap left side tires while the ace is on pit road. Remember, he was running up in 3rd spot. This is going to kick him down the running order here, but that could be a race-winning move and strategy should it pan out for the 1 car.
All kinds of strategies going on. Some guys don't pit, some guys take lefts, some guys take rights. A lot of strategies as we're about 2/3 of the way through this race here at Bobby Watson's Carteret Speedway. Again, don't forget, we're going to be right back here tomorrow evening for a huge late model race courtesy of our friends at Solid Rock Carriers.
While we await the Citrus 8 juice cone and try to sort out the running order, want to remind everyone that Bobby Labonte did in fact take home the Bankers Life Halfway Award. Remember, it's never too early to start planning for your future, and it's never too late to assure that you and your family are prepared for whatever life may bring. Well, thankfully, Bankers Life has agents who are eager to get to know you personally, listen to your concerns and priorities, and fully understand what you and your family need. To find an agent that is best suited for your needs, visit their website, bankerslife.com. That's insurance solutions, retirement planning, and everything in between. That is Bankers Life, bankerslife.com to learn more. Citrus Safe Juice Cone on the main straightaway, and boy, oh boy, have we jumbled up this running order.
Absolutely. Pit stops will do that. Don't forget, we're back tomorrow, and then our next race will be on Saturday, September 24th here at Bobby Watson's Carteret Speedway. You can go to carteretspeedway.com to find out more, or check Carteret Speedway on Facebook.
So, Gary Putnam did not stop. Same for Craig Young outside, same for Troy Young inside. Bobby Labonte, who has dominated this race, restarting outside of row 2 with Jonathan Brown and Bobby Meismer making up row 3. This will be the biggest restart of the race. We're back underway. Boy, Labonte quickly ducks down to the bottom to try to get up alongside the 3 car on the backstretch for third.
Boy, Labonte took advantage of that restart and that fresh tire. He will take third.
A lot of hip checking going on. Bobby Labonte's got a problem. He's off the pace on the front straightaway. Labonte is slowing in turns 1 and 2.
They're going by side. Labonte definitely a problem, and he will have to go to the attention of his crew. He has dominated this race, but he has a problem.
An absolute heartbreaker for Labonte, who stays on the racetrack. He is continuing to run at speed to try to diagnose the problem with that car.
Whatever happened, it happened in a hurry. He was running third. Now he's at the tail end of the field.
So Gary Putnam continues to lead. Troy Young running in second. Now Jonathan Brown is the highest running car that has stopped for fresh tires, followed by the number 1, check that, the number 15 of Brian Lofton.
Still trying to figure out what Labonte, but he is well off the pace for sure. Now he seems to be picking it back up a little bit, but Labonte slowed in a hurry. He was very lucky he was not run over.
We have entered the final third of the Carteret Clash here at Bobby Watson's Carteret County Speedway. This is the battle for third. These 2 cars came on the pit lane under the last caution. Brian Lofton has had a rocket ship tonight, and he's trying to get around Jonathan Brown with Brandon Ward closing.
Brandon Ward now in the top 5. Your leader is Gary Putnam. He did not pit. Troy Young second, Jonathan Brown third. Brian, caution. We got a caution. That is a huge break for Bobby Labonte if he was not the caution.
Trouble in turn 1. Daniel Yates in a Smart Modified Tour return. His turnaround backwards in the first corner, trying to get that car righted before leader Gary Putnam comes by. He will do that. And this is going to give that Labonte team an opportunity to see if they can diagnose what may be wrong with that Cookout number 25 after slowing for the front of the pack. Not sure if there was contact that we may not have been able to see from our vantage point, but it was very awkward to see Labonte pull that car down to the infield, maybe thinking that he had a tire going down, elected to fall to the back of the pack, diagnosed the issue, and he was pretty much back at pace the lap before the caution came out.
And he did not hit pit road that time. Let's see if he'll take advantage this time and get onto pit road. Labonte has led the great majority of this race, but as you said, when we got the restart, this restart would be the one to change the complexion of the race, and it certainly has done just that.
And now I'm wondering if you're Gary Putnam, as it appears that there is sparks coming out from Caleb Petty's car on the front straightaway. Labonte is going to stop this time through. So Bobby Labonte will come to the attention of his team. Mike Smith, also known as Andretti, heads up the operation for this team, and they are quickly jumping inside the cockpit there of Labonte's car.
Maybe something electrical?
Not seeing any attention to the 4 corners, so very well, this could be something maybe perhaps to do with something. When I saw them going on the right side, I thought maybe it could be ignition related, but it appears as though they're spending most of their time on the left side of the cockpit of the race car.
Your leader is Gary Putnam. Troy Young second, Jonathan Brown third. Brian Lofton is fourth. Brandon Ward runs in fifth. Bobby Meesemer Jr. is sixth.
Just behind Labonte, you see Burt Myers nose into your frame. He just rejoined the racetrack after the last yellow flag when he stopped. It looks like they're trying to make an adjustment there on the backside. Remember, he stopped for a fresh right rear tire, and they swapped the left sides, which was a race-winning strategy we saw here 1 year ago at the Carteret County Speedway. The question now becomes, Gary Putnam, from my memory, I don't recall them coming down and putting on that Hoosier tire just yet. So did he make his bed and now he will lay in it for the remaining 27 laps? I guess we're about to find out, as Labonte will rejoin, Burt Myers will rejoin, but Putnam stays out.
Very impressive by Putnam, not fit, and to hold that lead. 72 laps complete here at Bobby Watson's Carteret Speedway. Smart Modified Tour, their second time here at Carteret Speedway. Bobby Labonte won last year, putting on a great show, passing the lead late. And tonight we got a long way to go, a lot of racing left.
Want to give a tip of the cap to the car and driver that is running in second spot. That is Troy Young. Troy and his brother Craig elected to dive into tour type modified racing with both feet. Their towing company, Foxfire Towing, does a spectacular job year over year, and they decided that they love this style of car so much they went out and got 2 Fury chassis, 2 Roush Yates motors, and they started racing towards the latter portion of 2021. We've seen Jeff Foltz in some of these cars. We saw Josh Williams in the 3 car earlier this season. And as Troy Young elects the bottom behind Gary Putnam as they hit the Citrus 8 choose cone, Troy has been doing a phenomenal job since the restart to maintain pace with the front runners, and it looks as though he will line up on the inside of row 2 when we get set for the restart this time.
It is Putnam, Young, Brown, Lofton, Ward, Meesemer, and Caleb Hetty. Is that beautiful Carteret Speedway pace truck leads this field around. It will dive onto pit road, and we will go back to green flag action. 72 laps complete.
So Jonathan Brown elect the top side. Brian Lofton followed. They'll hit the Pace-O-Matic restart zone. 27 laps to settle the Carteret clash. Putnam and Brown bring us back to the restart. Brown has the edge as Troy Young is sideways. Big crash in turn 2. Troy Young is into the wall. Also involved, it looks as though that's Bobby Meesemer who was caught up in the incident, and I believe Brandon Ward hopped over the left front of Troy Young's car as well.
5 cars involved back under the caution, man. That was a lot of carnage coming out of turn number 2. Let's see how many of these cars can pull away. Don't believe that Troy Young's going to be able to pull away. He may be in the 3 car back there as well. He's going to move, so it looks like only 1 car is not going to pull away, and that is very unfortunate for Young. He was having a nice night.
Yeah, Troy Young, not sure if he got bounced around on the restart there, but nevertheless, that car went up the racetrack. I believe Brandon Ward may have gotten some damage, and I saw a pool of liquid in turn number 2 that may have come from Jimmy Wallace's Tutero Racing number 21. I believe they might have gotten the radiator on that car in the stack-up, trying to avoid Troy Young as his car headed up to the outside wall.
A lot of drivers did a nice job to miss that as well. Had 4 cars involved, maybe 5, could have been worse. That's
so, just as we were singing the praises of Troy Young, the announcer jinx strikes, and I'll take full responsibility for that one as he finds himself up against the wall. But take a look at the Flow Racing replay here, and look at that. Brandon Ward, the entire right side climbs over the left front of Troy Young's car, and at that point, Young is a passenger. Meesemer, Jason Myers, and Jimmy Wallace have nowhere to go, and I think Wallace hit the back nerf bar of Jason Myers' car just the right way to puncture the radiator. But boy, that was a big climb up over the left front of Troy Young's car by Brandon Ward, and somehow Ward not only remains on the racetrack, he's sitting 3rd as they are stopped in turn number 1.
But you wonder how much damage did Ward take during that incident. Again, that he was in the air, and that was hard contact, so we'll have to see if Ward's able to continue or if he chooses to come down pit road to take a look at the damage.
You see Troy Young up and out of the car. He is in fact okay after the incident down in turns number 1 and 2 after restarting this race on the inside of the 2nd row. It is just remarkable that Brandon Ward has been able to continue on after climbing over the left front of that car. And I mentioned Ward was running in third position. Check that. He's actually in fourth at the time of the yellow. We saw Jimmy Wallace come to the pit lane as we watched them remove the Foxfire Towing number 02 from the scene in the second corner. And I believe Jimmy Wallace's race may be coming to a premature close as that driver is already out of the car and walking back towards the hauler after popping the radiator in the stack up after everything got scrambled in turns 1 and 2.
Things happen in a hurry here at Bobby Watson's Carteret Speedway on lap number 72. Your leader is Gary Putnam. Again, he elected not to pit, and he has been able to hold that lead. Very impressive for Gary Putnam. Don't forget, we're right here tomorrow, Bobby Watson's Carteret Speedway, 6 o'clock meet and greet, 7 o'clock green flag. It is going to be big-time late model race for big money, courtesy of Solid Rock Carriers. We want to see you back here tomorrow, and we wish everyone a very happy and safe Labor Day weekend.
So this gives us an opportunity to hit the reset button and kind of refresh how we got here in the Carteret Clash with 27 laps to go. Bobby Labonte set the quick time in qualifying. He won the Pace-O-Matic pole, and then by virtue of the redraw was still fortunate enough to start on the inside of row 1 when they came down for the green flag. He went on to lead every lap of the opening stage of the Jerry Hunt Supercenter stage break at lap 30, took home the Banker's Life Halfway Award, and then when we had a caution with a little bit over 30 laps to go and the majority of the front runners came down the pit lane, pretty much everybody except for Gary Putnam and a couple of others, Labonte came back out for the restart, restarted fourth, and after just one lap pulled down to the inside with an apparent problem on that car. They came down the following yellow to inspect, diagnose, and hopefully repair that issue, but nevertheless, Labonte, who has been the car to beat by far at this point in the race, now has a lot of work to do, and this skirmish that just took place out of his reach in the first and second corner may allow him an opportunity to creep back up towards the front of the running order with 27 laps to go.
Once they sort this out, Bobby's going to be running somewhere probably around 11th or 12th once the timing and scoring gets everybody situated. But again, a tough break for Troy Young. He was having such a good night, but that night is over. 2 cars will probably be done for the night, Jimmy Wallace and Troy Young.
You are watching the Carteret Clash live on Flow Racing. I'm Eric Brennan, joined now by Alan Vick, who is a familiar voice to those of you who frequent Carteret County Speedway. Earlier you heard Chris Carter, who got the crowd ramped up to give the command. And Alan, I'll pose the question to you. First off, this is really great to be working with you. I enjoy the work that you do here on a regular basis, and the tagline is America's nicest short track, and I think that is, even in that individual sentence, it could even be an understatement. The lighting, the grass, the infield restaurant, the pedestrian bridge to get you in and out of the racetrack and not have to wait for the races to be over at a certain or given point. I think this is one of the most fan-friendly, racer-friendly, employee-friendly facilities that you could ever find in motorsports, and you're lucky enough to be able to work here quite often, my friend. So is that your perspective as well?
Absolutely. It is an honor for me to be here. This was Bobby Watson's dream. We lost Bobby back in 2018, but Bob Lowery, Judy Haley, everyone involved does such a great job here. And it's all about the fans. You know, without fans, we would have no racetrack. Without sponsors, we would have no racetrack. So they do everything they can here to make it as fan-friendly and make the experience as pleasant as possible. You know, you've got folks who love short track racing, but once they're here, you got to treat them well and make sure they'll come back next time.
For many of these teams that are based in North Carolina or around that area, this is one of the longest travel trips for how far north and east you have to come. For me, out of Morrisville, North Carolina, it was about 5 hours or so to get out here. But what the team started doing, and I started doing it myself, everyone started doing it, and I would advise those watching on Flow Racing, if you want to plan your trip to Carteret County Speedway, you could truly make a weekend out of it. You can make a week out of it. We're 15 miles or so, or 15 minutes or so from the Emerald Isle Beach. beach. It's about 3 miles, if you will. There's so much to do. There's so many beach towns that you could pop into and visit. The food is outstanding, whether you're at the racetrack or away from it. And it's honestly one of the most fun times that I've had all year long. And I would advise anyone who has not been here before, start planning your trip, whether it be for a Smart Modify race down the road or any race that we have going on here at Carteret County. There is so much to do in this area. The weather has been absolutely perfect, and I think that that's just another added element as to why this place is so special.
You got great racing, like you said, great food. You got beaches. You've got friendly, coastal North Carolina hospitality. It's just a great time, and it's a family event. It's a family sport. You can bring the kids, grandma, grandpa, doesn't matter what age you are. Everybody loves short track racing. Everybody loves the beach.
One of the coolest things I heard all weekend, Bob Lowery told us not that long ago, they opened up a karting facility on the property where they started to filter some young drivers up through, and a handful of them have already committed to the entry-level division that runs here weekly. I think that is absolutely awesome, and Bobby Watson's dream continues to live on. Somehow, they keep adding to this facility, and it's amazing, and every upgrade and every enhancement has been an absolute home run. As the Citrus Safe Juice Cone is out, again, Gary Putnam did not stop under the last 3 cautions by my notes. He may still have a fresh user tire in the pit area. The last restart, Jonathan Brown did get the jump on the high side, but the timing of the yellow forces Brown to have to try to do it again.
Putnam, you just wonder, like you said earlier, has he made his bed? As they are forming up 2 by 2, ready to go back green flag racing. Gary Putnam is your leader, but he has got a lot of company behind him.
Looks as though we are not going to be able to go this time through, as the caution flag is going to fly yet again to keep the AutosByNelson.com pace truck on the racetrack. And I think another car that we got to keep an eye on there, in fact, I'll call out 2, row 2, Brian Lofton. I think even when Bobby Labonte was up towards front of the pack, the front of the pack, if you will, I think Brian Lofton could have had maybe tied for the best car, or at least the second best car between those two. And let's not count out Labonte just yet. As they stand following the Citrus Safe Choose Cone, I'm showing Labonte lining up inside of row 5. So he's going to be in about 9th position here with 27 to go. I think he's still got a shot at it.
We know Bobby loves the bottom. He's been able to pick him up and put him down on that bottom side tonight. And he actually picked up a position the one lap that he ran before he had a problem. So if he's back, if that car is up to 100% at full song, he's going to be right there. He's going to be a player.
Caution being extended here by a couple of laps, so it gives us a chance to tell you more about how the field is going to line up for this restart. We talked about Brian Lofton. Let's talk about Brandon Ward. That team, I saw Randy Renfro down in the pit area. Keep in mind, that organization won the last Smart Modified race that was held. That was back on June 29th at Caraway Speedway. Joey Coulter, former NASCAR Truck Series winner, has a lot of experience in all forms and disciplines of motorsports, has really enjoyed driving Tour Type Modifieds, and he got his second career Smart Modified Tour win driving the 02 for the Coulter Renfro Motorsports operation. Coulter, of course, not here tonight, so it's Brandon Ward carrying the banner for the team, but Brandon had a very stout season at Bowman Gray Stadium. In fact, he had to settle for a runner-up position at championship points to that of Tim Brown. But Ward trying to kind of ride that wave of momentum and success here into the Smart campaign for the high gear portion of the program. And as things run, Brandon Ward enters the night 6th in championship points, trying to work his way up into that all-important Smart 3 by the time we get to Tri-County Speedway on October 15th.
A lot of great racing left in this Smart Modified Tour as we get into the month of September. You go into the fall, and that it won't be long before that chill will be in the air. If the chill is in the air, the racing just keeps getting hotter and hotter and hotter. These guys have come through the summer months, but there is a long way to go, and there's a long way to go in this race. Only 72 laps on the board.
So we continue to work under the caution flag. It looks as though the pit lane was open. We mentioned Troy Young was involved in the crash earlier. He was out of the car and okay. He's actually helping Craig Young on his pit stop currently as they work their way in the infield. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping here. If you're watching along on Race Monitor or following the timing and scoring ticker here on Flow Racing, you will see the number 79 entered as Wes Gilbert. That is because the Hillbilly Motorsports team was an official entry to this race, so he is currently being scored as the last car in the running order in that number 79. Of course, Gilbert yielded his cockpit seat to Jeremy Gerster, the traditional pilot for Hillbilly Motorsports on the Smart Tour. Dennis Holdren was out of the race after a problem in turns 3 and 4. That happened on lap number 49. Bobby Labonte is actually running higher up than what timing and scoring would allude to. That's because we lost a handful of cars in the most recent caution. Jimmy Wallace is out of the race due to crash damage. Troy Young out of the race due to crash damage. The pit lane is clear of all other competitors and cars at this time, and I think we are in fact getting a little bit closer here to this restart with 27 laps still to go.
And with every restart, business starts to pick up. The restart gets a little more critical. You see drivers with a little less give and take on every restart. So this by far is the most important restart of the night, as these drivers have been polite, doing some giving and taking so far, but that is about to end right here. Go back to the green flag.
We have seen a little bit of physicality so far tonight in terms of when these races get back underway, in terms of how you have to make a pass, in terms of how deep you want to try to dive in the corner, perhaps inside another car. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Who is going to do what it takes to end up in victory lane here at America's nicest short track at the Carteret County Speedway? Right now, Gary Putnam, on a totally different strategy, is going to have the field in his hands when we finally are about ready to get back rolling.
I think we're going to be doing that shortly. It won't take much longer. We see a car diving back on to pit road for some quick work. It's going to have to be quick work as we're just about, and he's going to pull in, so we're going to maybe lose another car here. It's unfortunate.
That is Craig Young in the number 3 car. We kind of mentioned that car started out the season numbered as the 03. We did see Jeff Foltz climb into that car at South Boston Speedway. Foltz, of course, has a bit of an ownership stake in the Fury Race Cars team. We also saw Josh Williams, who is the normal spotter for NASCAR Cup Series driver Ryan Blaney behind the wheel of that car. And obviously Craig Young a little bit hot as he climbs out. And the red flag is out at this time with the engine shut off. And I believe this could be because we lost a bank of lights down in turn number 1. It looks as though that there is in fact a pylon that lights up the entry to the first corner that may have gone dark. So they have stopped the field here on the front straightaway, and they have thrown the red to give the track an opportunity here to try to see if they can get that situation sorted out.
The staff here at Carteret Speedway, they will get that sorted out. A red flag again. We have lost, like you said, some lights going down into turn number 1 at lap number 72. We've still got some racing left after the Smart Modified Tour. Our second Legends race is still to come tonight, so this gives folks the opportunity to take advantage of our concession stands here at the racetrack. We've got great food, great drink. You know, we just got good folks here at the racetrack. They work awfully hard. You know, on a race weekend like this, a doubleheader, these folks are up, you know, bright and early in the morning, working until late at night. So there's a lot of dedication, a lot of TLC that goes into a weekend like this here at Bobby Watson's Carteret Speedway.
Well, at this moment, we are going to step aside. For those of you watching on Flow Racing, we'll be right back after a few short messages. Still 27 laps to go for the Smart Modified Tour, powered by Pace-O-Matic, for the Carteret Clash here at the Carteret County Speedway.
Hi, I'm Tom Buzzy.
And I'm Lori Buzzy.
And this is our story. 2010, 2011, we decided to start our own family business of Buzzy Racing. 4-cylinder cars at Hickory and Daytona with NASCAR cars. We have a son that races. We have 2 grandchildren that race. I feel like from our customers' perspective, they appreciate that. We understand their situation. We understand their budget concerns, what they need in technology. It's something we've done for so many years, and we're very fortunate to be able to pass that on to our customers.
Hi, I'm Tom Buzzy.
I'm Alan Buzzy.
And the story continues with us.
Racing has been part of our family as long as I can remember. Started in Dad's garage, and finally it grew and grew to busy enough where
Dad called me, and that's where I joined the business.
some of our customers, they've been customers of ours, some of them since I was in high school.
One of the coolest things you hear is someone calls and they say, so-and-so told me to take it to Buzzy.
Word of a racer, it means a lot.
I am Ben Buzzy. I am Tyler Buzzy. And we are the future of Buzzy Racing.
You think they'll jump in the business too?
Yeah, I think so. They love racing too.
Yes. Yeah. Racing is one of my passions because my dad and my grandpa work there.
One thing I can hope is we were there with our dad. Hopefully what we've taught them and they can take it and teach their kids, it continues to go.
Visit us online at Joe's Racing.
Racers that win, pour it in, and we appreciate you.
All right, we getting ready to get this bad boy. Are y'all having a good time? No, y'all done got quiet on me. Let me hear you. Y'all having a good time? Free beer. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, Chris Carter, you're doing an amazing job down there trackside as we are back live on Flow Racing. So let's do a little bit of housekeeping and just recap where we stand. 27 laps to go in the Carteret Clash. We are under the red flag due to a bank of lights going dark in turn number 1. Chris Carter was quick thinking on his part, said, hey, give me a mic. Let's go talk to some of these drivers. So we briefly heard from Jonathan Brown during the break there. It does sound like there is a chance, for those of you watching at home, that we may, in fact, and for those of you in the grandstands, we may very well have to kind of turn off some or more or all of the remaining lights that are on right now. So if you're watching at home and you see things go dark for a moment, don't get too concerned. It would just be a troubleshooting technique. And for those of you here at the racetrack, we kindly ask for your patience should we have to go that route at some point. So the red flag remains out. Gary Putnam, by my count, has not put on that new Hoosier tire just yet. He elected to stay out towards the front of the pack. I would like to go back through my notes and verify perhaps that maybe do that early in the race, but either way, he is the race leader, with Jonathan Brown lining up in second spot, Brian Lofton, Brandon Ward, point leader Caleb Petty, your top 5 as they run following the Citrus Save Choose Cone here at the Carteret County Speedway. This opportunity allows us to kind of tell you what is coming up next for the Smart Modified Tour. After this race on September 10th, we will be at the Orange County Speedway in North Carolina. We'll then move on to round number 9, September 17th at the Dominion Speedway, right off of I-95. You want to talk about a race or a venue where we pull a number of northern competitors and tour-type modified racers from the New England region down? That is it. That was one of our heavily populated races of last season at the Dominion Raceway or Dominion Speedway, and this year it will be on September 17th. We'll then move on to Motor Mile, our last stop in Virginia, October 1st, and then we will decide our Smart 3 on October 8th at the historic Hickory Motor Speedway, where our top 3 drivers in championship standings will be locked in to battling it out for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic Championship. The Smart 3 and the rest of the field will invade Tri-County Speedway October 15th for our season finale, and we will be awarding another championship trophy. All of which could be found on smartmodtour.com. Be sure to join us in person. It is one of the big caveats of the Smart Modified Tour, trying to be as fan-friendly, welcoming, and opening as possible. Typically, most of our events have on-track autograph sessions and driver sightings. You can see some of these cars up close and about as close as you could get to them as one could ever imagine. We try to do that at all of our events where schedules allow. allow. So if you're watching along on Flow, you've got to get out to one of these Smart Modify races. And if you can't be with us, of course, all races streamed live on Flow Racing. So the red flag remains out at this point. We do know that the hardworking crew here at the Carteret County Speedway is working diligently to try to assure that the track is in fact ready to get back in a race-ready condition. And it sounds as though we may just about be there.
Engines are fired. At this point, I think we're just going to live with it. One bank of lights are out. The drivers say the vision is not that bad, so they're going to go racing. Just another wrinkle for Saturday night short track racing. Never a dull moment for sure.
So we saw Chris Williams, race director for the Sport Modified Tour, kind of signal and indicate for these engines to be refired. So I would imagine the conversations took place, and this is one of the things about the Sport Modified Tour that we know and love. There is a lot of transparency and communication amongst those who head up the tour and the drivers and teams who invest the time and money to compete in it. I would imagine that at that time they pretty much polled the front runners and said, is it too dark to race down in turn number 1 with the lighting like this? And as you can see on our flow cameras, granted, on our broadcast, sometimes we could pull a little bit of trickery with the way in which our camera lenses are set up. That's truly what we're seeing from the broadcast booth. We could clearly make out the cars that are going through that portion of the racetrack. It's not at 100% operability, but it's certainly probably better than the majority of short tracks in this country, to be completely honest with you. So nevertheless, the drivers gave it a thumbs up. We're going to try to go back racing, and now we can turn our attention back to some of the storylines, like that of Brandon Ward giving up a top 5 spot to come back onto the pit lane as the field rolls off the front stretch.
Second or third stop tonight for Brandon Ward. They are swarming all over that number 2.
Now remember, that is the part of the car that made contact with Troy Young's machine in turns 1 and 2, and it appeared as though that it wasn't too worse for the wearer, but nevertheless, maybe they had a look at it under the red flag, found something they didn't like, and they're going to try to take this opportunity to get that repaired. We'll see if they have enough time.
That red flag could have been a huge break for Brandon Ward if they were able to spot some trouble with that number 2 and some problems. Maybe a couple of parts and pieces were bent, so that could be a big break for Brandon Ward if they're able to get things back in order and he's able to continue.
Take a look at who has joined JB Cole on the flag stand. That's Matthew Dillner of Flow Racing, who's here having some fun. We mentioned the fact Carteret County Speedway, a great family destination. While most of his family spent their day at the beach, Matthew elected to come on out and have some fun with us in the Smart Modified Tour at the racetrack. So they are letting the drivers circulate around this venue to see how the visibility is in turn number 1. JB Cole asking if they have been given a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and the word is thumbs up. So that means we are going to see this race to the finish. 27 laps still to go. The field already took the choose. However, Brandon Ward remains on the pit lane here, so we'll have to wait and see if he can get back out in time.
It is Gary Putnam leading this race back after a red flag. Thank you for your patience. We appreciate you sticking around. You're going to see some great racing for the last 28 or so laps, 27 or so laps of this race. Your leader is Putnam. We've still got more racing after the Smart Modifieds, and again, a big day tomorrow here at Bobby Watson's Carteret Speedway.
1 to go signal being given, and unfortunately Brandon Ward's car remains on pit road. The field goes by. They're going to be coming to the green next time by. We'll see if Ward can make it back out.
That's a shame. Tough break for Brandon Ward.
So the drivers had a chance to sit on the front straightaway. They had a chance to plot their move. What are they going to do next? How are they going to survive the final 27 laps of the Carteret Clash here at Bobby Watson's Carteret County Speedway? Gary Putnam, Jonathan Brown, Brian Lofton are getting set to bring us back down to the restart. Here we go. And on the outside, Jonathan Brown rockets to the front with Jeremy Gerster trying to dig on the top lane as well around Putnam.
Bobby Labonte back on pit road.
And as the field heads down turns 1 and 2, Bobby Labonte has come back down the pit lane. His chance to drive up through the pack may be over. Brown, the leader. Gerster kind of trapped up in that second lane, now battling with the point leader, Caleb Hetty.
Labonte went through the pits, did not stop, and came back out on the racetrack.
Burt Myers now trying to work the top side here. This 3-car not. Battling it out for third on back. The final spot on the podium with 25, now 24 laps to go. Gerster has the edge. Gerster to fourth, while the race at the front of the pack starts to tighten up.
Jonathan Brown, your leader over Putnam, Lofton, Gerstner, and Caleb Hetty cracks the top 5 for the first time tonight.
Here's the fight for the lead. Gary Putnam with a look on the inside. Can't make it happen. Brown trying to protect the lead, and Brian Lofton is there. Applied pressure contact. Brown knocks sideways. Putnam up the top. Brown sails it into the inside. What a save by Jonathan Brown.
Great racing. Absolutely fabulous racing here at Bobby Watson's Carteret Speedway.
Putnam's car has come back to life, and he's pulling Brian Lofton up through with him. Gerster in the 8. Also running there in the top 4 as Brown tries to defend inside.
Your leader is Brown, but Putnam is there. Lofton is there. Gerstner is there. Throw a blanket over your top squad. 4, 5, maybe 6 cars right now.
Caleb Hetty trying to enter the frame as now Brian Lofton is up and inside of Gary Putnam for second as they come through 2.
80 laps complete, coming around to complete lap number 81. Great racing.
Gerster trying to fill the hole on the inside as well as Myers rockets around the top. He gets around Gerster. Now is the door open wide enough for him to get around Putnam for third.
Burt Myers on the outside, trying to make up some ground.
Brian Lofton has caught Jonathan Brown for the lead with Burt Myers closing. Big run out of 2 for Lofton. Diving to the inside for the race lead in 3.
Here they come. And Lofton's going to take the lead. A power move for Brian Lofton.
15 laps to go. Next time by, Brian Lofton has driven his way back up towards the head of the pack with Burt Myers trying to get around Jonathan Brown for second.
It's funny, Bobby Labonte hit pit road, didn't stop. Whatever was wrong, obviously has been corrected. He is fast, but he needs a caution. If he's going to get back in it, he's going to have a caution.
Myers trying to set up Jonathan Brown. There is lap traffic ahead of them. That's Brian Weber, who yields way outside to try to allow second and third through with breathing room. Myers with a big run out of 2, not enough to dive low on Jonathan Brown.
Great racing as the laps are winding down. Now 14 left to go, 14 to go.
Burt Myers going to try the top side here as they come through the corner. Now he gets a good run on the backstretch. Burt Myers trying to get up to second spot and see if he can chase down Brian Lofton. Brown sideways, almost at the end of the pit wall.
Brown sideways, great save, but he's going to lose some positions Well, that was a great save, but that's going to cost him.
That's going to knock Brown out of a podium spot for the moment. He's trying to get back up to and around Gary Putnam for third.
Brian Lofton, your leader. Burt Myers second. Gary Putnam is third. 88 laps complete.
Burt Myers, the reigning Smart Modified Tour champion, debuting a brand new PSR chassis. He said he loved the way this thing handled. He was 2/10 faster than Brian Lofton, and he's got less than 10 to go.
Burt Myers doing all he can to catch Brian Lofton. Gary Putnam back to third. They'll come around to complete lap number 90. Less than 10 to go here at Bobby Watson's Carteret Speedway.
Burt Myers taking a line that we saw Brian Lofton take earlier in this race when he was chasing Bobby Labonte for the race lead. Trying to set up high, get a good drive off the corner. Lap traffic in front. That time by Myers was a tick faster than that of Brian Lofton. Is there enough time?
Time is running out. Your leader continues to be Brian Lofton. Burt Myers continues to slowly close in. Running third now is Gary Putnam. 91 laps complete.
Last time around, Myers was 1/10 of a second quicker. Lap cars ahead. Greg Butcher side by side with Brian Weber. Lofton had to lift a little bit. 6 laps to go. That time, Myers got another 10.
Great racing. Brian Lofton, who has been strong all night, trying to hold on, but this race is not over. A long way to go.
Greg Field front runners here as Myers now has to jump around the top side. He'll get held up there a little bit.
Burt Myers again was faster than last lap. It is now down to just a couple of car lengths. Burt Myers pulls in on Brian Lofton.
That time they both get a little bit loose up off the corner. 4 laps to go at Carteret County.
Catching him is one thing, passing him, that's another something entirely. Burt Myers, he is there though. He continues to chop that margin down.
Myers' car coming on very strong in the latter stages. Clear racetrack ahead of Brian Lofton. Barring a caution, this is going to be a 2-car race to the finish, and there is your gap. Lofton, Myers coming to the line with 2 laps to go.
2 to go for Lofton and Myers. Barring something unforeseen, they're going to settle it among themselves. They will see the white flag.
Neither of these drivers went to victory lane in 2021. One of the Smart 3, in fact 2 of the Smart 3, battling for a victory. White flag in the air.
Brian Lofton trying to get around a lap car. Will the lap cars cause a problem? Myers is going to have one more shot going into turn 3.
Lofton got held up, but it's not enough. To the checkered flag, Brian Lofton wins the Carteret Clash.
Brian Lofton wins it over Burt Myers, Gary Putnam, Caleb Heddy, and Jonathan Brown.
Boy, there is a lot of energy down here with this Shady Gray Racing team. They've gone to victory lane many times in 2020, competed for a Smart Modified Championship 1 year ago, but it's been a while since they've been able to celebrate the taste of victory lane on the Smart Modified Tour, and they are back. An incredible drive by clearly one of the best cars in the field throughout the duration of the Carteret Clash. And Brian Lofton, in what he hopes will be another charge to a championship contending season, is getting set to celebrate with this full team who makes it all possible for him. It's also going to be the first time he gets to take home one of these Smarty trophies. Your winner of the Carteret Clash, Brian Lofton. Brian with the checkered flag in hand. This is not his first, as his son Carson comes in to offer up congratulations. Brian, it is not your first Smart Modified win, but it's the first time you get to take home one of those Smarty trophies. What does this mean to you?
Oh, this is huge. I tell you what, this whole team right here stuck behind me last year. We struggled, and I was down. I wasn't sure if it was me. I almost told them to put somebody else in it because we just weren't good. We could run 5th, 6th, but they stuck behind me, kept me up, and tell you what, we got this thing turned around now. I think thing's going to be back in victory lane more.
At the beginning of the race, you and Bobby Labonte looked pretty evenly matched. Then, of course, everything got jumbled. And on that last lap, that lap car made you lift big time on the backstretch. Were you nervous with Bert closing in there, or were you quite confident you had this thing in the bag?
No, I mean, Bert's a class act. You know, he could have went in there and tried to really do something. That guy, I wasn't sure if he was going to go high or low because he'd been giving us the bottom. So, like I say, thanks to Bert for keeping it classy and doing the right thing there. I gotta give a shout out to my son, 14-year-old, first spot tonight, so he's 1 for 1 spotting now too.
You mentioned your son Carson, who comes in here to join with you. Carson's been doing pretty good in those 602 crate mods. He's been collecting some trophies himself. Are you happy you finally get to add one to your tally mark compared to this youngster?
Oh yeah, I hear about it in the garage all the time. I win, Dad, you don't. When's the last time you won, Dad? So now at least I can rib him back.
What a great job. Congratulations to you and this team. And Chris Williams is going to be presenting you your first Smarty trophy, presented by Bankers Life for the Carteret Clash. Brian Lofton, your winner tonight here at the Carteret County Speedway. Let's hear from the other end of that battle there in the closing laps. Our reigning Smart Modified champion, Burt Myers, gave it his all. Looked as though the strategy may have been right in your hand. You did have the faster car there toward the closing stages. It looked as though you had a shot in 3 and 4, but you raced them clean. Tell us about that finish there in the closing laps.
Yeah, I think our strategy was good. We had a problem on the pit stop, and then we had to come back in for another adjustment, and it's just so hard to pass here. And you know, Brian had a really good car, and I knew I had my work cut out. We just had to get there, and track position is so key here. And we were able to get some track position, but we needed long green or either a quick caution there to try to make a move. But we had a second place car, but that's okay. We worked hard, and could have been a lot worse. But you know me, I don't mean to sound dejected over second place, but I guess you can say that we're happy but not satisfied.
I know it was a big, big day and big weekend for your family, so it may not be the trophy you wanted for it, but it's a great result for you and your parents and Jason and everyone to celebrate, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I can't even, hopefully one day my kids will hand me and my wife balloons that say 50 on them. Yeah, that'd be nice, but yeah, like I said, this is what keeps us together is racing. Thanks to Bob and the management for having us here. We love coming here, and probably gonna spend the day at the beach tomorrow relaxing, and I'll probably beat myself up just a little bit about finishing second tonight. But look, this was a brand new car. Yesterday was the first time he hit the racetrack. So to come tonight and to qualify second and run second and be able to make adjustments and see progress from that is key. So look out at Orange County.
Congratulations on second, and happy anniversary to Gary and Pam as well.
Thank you.
Burt Myers comes home in third. Gary Putnam trying to clear the racetrack here. I'm going to try to grab him real quick. Gary, we were watching the race unfold. I don't mean to tie up here. My question is, from our vantage point, did you ever get that fresh tire on, or were you on the same strategy all race long where you started and finished on the 4 you went out to the green with?
No, I did everything at the break. We only got 2 of us here, or 3 of us with Charlie spotting. So we didn't have we had to do it at the brake. So we got the left side swap, put the right rear, and I tried to save it. And then after that last restart there, I lost power steering. So it was a little bit of a struggle, but the car was driving good, and that made it a lot easier.
I'm going to let you go rest and get hydrated. Gary Putnam, what a drive. Third place tonight. We'll see you. Hopefully we see you next week.
Yep, plan to.
Gary Putnam, what a drive. Without power steering in the closing laps on one of the tightest radius tracks that we have on a Smart Modified calendar. For those of you who want to catch more Smart Modified racing, again, smartmodtour.com to learn more. And as Burt